Welcome back, everybody. Natasha B here. I am your trained esthetician as well as your beauty junkie monkey. That's right. This girl's looking out for you. And I love to do reviews on beauty products. Today I'm going to be doing about the under eye powder, setting powder. Should you use it? Should you not? I'm 45. I like to be very honest about my age, but I also have little crinkles down here and a little, not so awesome kind of eye stuff going on. So I like to hide it and mask it as best as I can. And I found a couple products that I think you're going to be really surprised with when I go through with this. Just a heads up, this was not sponsored, so I did not receive any of these products for free. I purchased them out of my own pocket. And for those of you who want to sponsor me and help me out, there's a few ways you can do it. If you don't want to put any money in my little tip jar that I have set down below, you can always like, share, add comments, anything like that helps support my page. So I thank you for that. For those of you who was like, yeah, sure, I'll throw in a couple bucks, I have a little tip jar down below through PayPal. Gives me the opportunity to use that money towards funding for equipment as well as for products. So thank you so very much for all that support that you guys have given me. Let's get into the down and dirty. Okay, so there's two companies I'm going to be featuring, and this one is called the e.l.f. brand, and then of course the Pat McGrath. These are both under eye powders. Now this is something that a lot of people may or may not kind of go with. Why would you go with either or? I got hooked on e.l.f. years ago from another YouTube blogger, and I absolutely love the powder. It works extremely well. It helps brighten up. It used to be called, it's called the Smooth and Set Eye Powder, but it used to be called the Under Eye Brightening Powder because it actually has a little bit of brightening under the eyes, and it really helps the eyes pop. It's a finely milled powder, so it didn't settle into any of my wrinkles or crinkles or little, well, now that I'm 45, it kind of, I have to be really careful about those bad boys. But it didn't do anything like that, which is what I really, really loved. And like I said, it really helped my eyes pop because my under eyes, my skin's very translucent, and you can see all the blue veins. So I like something that actually brightens it up a little bit, and it works really well. And it works with all skin types because it is translucent. It really is. It goes on. There's no flashback, which is even awesome. So you can take photos and no worries about that too. So when I looked into e.l.f. Cosmetics, I was kind of impressed because the actual company itself, they make their products in a lab through China. Now, before you guys start panicking, this is not your back end China lab, okay? This is an actual laboratory. They're very careful. They have high standards that they have to meet. And for those of you who think, well, do they test on animals? No, they do not. They are absolutely 100% vegan, and they don't test on animals because what they do is, how it works with China is if they want to sell on the Chinese market, they have to test on animals. Now, my research has shown that since 2000, they're proposing a new deal through China through 2020, that certain ingredients that have been proven that are not an issue that are going to be used will no longer have to do a certain testing. So they are going to try to amend their testing laws that goes with that. And it's just because their standards are, they want to make sure that it is 100% safe. And that's why they still test on animals. You guys, you know me, I do not invoke that, but I like the fact that it looks like there's some movement in that department where they may eventually phase that out. The neat thing about e.l.f. is, although they are manufactured in China, like I said, these are not your backwater. These are not your copycat labs. This is a true lab that takes very good care of making sure. So because it's manufactured in China, it brings the cost down. Because they don't use any type of endorsement, celebrity endorsements, it keeps the cost down. And their packaging, as you guys all know, is very simple, very plasticky. But what's in it is actually pretty decent. And that's what I thought was kind of intriguing. The other thing about e.l.f. that I want to shout out to is that in 2004, they donated 20% to breast cancer research, which I thought was fantastic. And they also did a special gift basket to ladies in LA that were suffering from breast cancer. They put together little gift packages and sponsor that as well. So they're very good at giving back within the community, which is really nice to see with a brand. In 2007, 50% of their tweezer sales, so they had like this faux fur tweezer sale deal that they put together. 50% of those sales went to support PETA. So again, very conscious about cruelty against animals and so forth. And then in 2011, 5% of every single that they made went to help the Red Cross for Japan's disaster. I believe they had not only an earthquake but a tsunami at the same time. So they really got hit. They got hit really hard, and Elf went and stepped up to the plate and actually helped them out. So I was really, really impressed with Elf right out of the gate. I thought it was a fantastic line, and like I said, I've been using it for years. However, when Pat McGrath came out with her very high-end Juju Poo gorgeous eye. Now this is the same thing, same idea. It's for under eye specifically. It's called the Skin Fetish Sublime Perfecting Blurring Under Eye Powder. Now, come on, people. Can't we just call it a blurring under eye powder? Like, do you have to put Skin Fetish Sublime Perfection? Like, I'm sorry, I get it. You want to be Juju Poo, I get that, but come on, like their under eye powder. It works for the rest of us. Their packaging, I'm not too crazy about. If you guys look into Pat McGrath, they like to put like this signature gold packaging, which is really cute, but they put these, what are they called? Like almost like confetti inside of it. Totally wasteful. It looks ridiculous as far as I'm concerned. I never really understood Pat McGrath until I started researching them, because at first when I'd see it in Sephora, I actually thought it was like for kids, because it looked really kiddish. The packaging, it didn't look bougie to me. It looked kind of tacky. In my opinion. This is my opinion. So, but Pat McGrath is actually a woman, a British woman that is a self-taught makeup artist. She really went far with herself, as well as her her beauty vision, and she's now out of New York City, so she's literally blown up. But she's also a very expensive skincare line, and I was really curious. I'm like, does this work as well as this? So should I spend $40 for this very high-end powder, or should I continue using Elf, which is $8 here in Canada? I think in the States it's $4. Now, you guys are all going to be running out and buying one of the products, because I'm going to tell you right out of the gate, they're exactly the same. Yes. Yeah. Let that sink in. They're exactly the same. I even checked products, the ingredients, and a lot of the same ingredients are in there. There's a few different ones, which I would assume you'd have to have, because it's like, I don't know if it works in the cosmetic industry, if you know, you want to plagiarize a recipe. That's what I'm wondering. So maybe they change a few things, or there are a couple ways that they add more or less of. Maybe that's just them tinkering with it. But to be fair, exactly. I mean, it was pretty funny. Now here's the trick. When you apply any of these products, hang on, I'm gonna grab my open one, because I didn't grab the right one. So this is my open one. As you can see, it's loose. I'm not a fan of loose, because I'm a klutz and I usually always spill it. But the way you want to do is use a really fluffy brush, and use only that fluffy brush for under the eyes. Now you can use this version, or you can use, I have another version here that I love, and this is from Morphe. Okay, so this is also another little guide that you can use, and I'll show you how to use both. So once you've put on all your makeup, and you're just doing this right at the end, I'm just going to shake that down so it doesn't have too much fallout. So you just dip the powder, tap it, and then when you apply it, you want to start from the base and move your way up, especially if you're of a certain age. Yes, okay, I'm going to say it, especially if you're seeing crinkles and fine lines, you most definitely want to start in that department, because if you start right here, it's going to sink right in there, and it's going to look awful, and it's going to be too much product. And then of course what you're going to do is just gently buff it. Again, using a light hand. You can see my hands further apart, and the reason why it's further away from the actual brush is so I have a lighter hand, a lighter application. But look how bright that looks, and it mattifies down, so it looks phenomenal. So that is the Elf on that side. Let's do the Pat McGrath Labs. I'm going to use the other brush just for giggles. So you grab it and you want to pat it. Now when she sold this, she sold it with a primer. So I'm going to top off lots of extras. Okay, so you get a lot in here. And then, same as before, because this is such a small little brush, I don't have a lot of product on here. So I'm just going to apply that. So what I'm doing is I'm just tapping it in place first, and then I can do a soft hand and slowly drag it in. Okay. So I wait till I kind of feel that slip. There it is. There's that slip. I can feel it. and then I do it. And that's how the under eyes work. So you can see this one, there's maybe just a hint more, but I mean, in all honesty, guys, they're kind of the same. Then I wore this, same thing. I put e.l.f. on one side, Pat McGrath on the other side. I wore them on my concealer and I went to Zumba and I Zumbaed like nobody's business. My hips were shaking like Shakira. And guess what I noticed? They both held the same. They were both 10 out of 10. Seriously, 10 out of 10. They both held. I mean, yeah, towards the end, they started kind of showing a little bit of breakdown, but I was Zumbaing, for heaven's sakes. I mean, this is an hour of hardcore cardio. This is not like a walk in the park or just going out and having dinner with your whoever. Guys, they're beautiful products. They both work. They both work well, but let's call e.l.f. the winner on this one. Pat McGrath, I haven't seen anything in there that says she supports anything, but again, she's still fairly new. She's currently, I think, out of New York, but I have no idea where they manufacture the product either. I tried to look into it and I couldn't find anywhere where they manufacture, so I couldn't tell you where they manufacture, but they do claim on their websites that they are vegan and that they are also cruelty-free, which is points for them. So, do both work? Yes. They're both 5 out of 5 out of effectiveness. The packaging is, I don't think that's sexy compared to this. I think sexiness wise, they're both about the same, personally speaking. The only thing is this one's loose, with this one's a press. This one you get, I have 0.4 ounces or 4 grams. So you do get quite a bit, but, and again, I tried to check on e.l.f. and I couldn't get how much is in there, but there's a lot. And for $8, yeah, I'll be fine. So guys, there's the truth. There's the tea. There's the information. You can spend 20 times more, or you can just go to e.l.f. and just buy it off the shelf. I think e.l.f. wins on this one. So let me know what your comments are. I would love to hear your feedback. I'm sorry for those of you who love Pat McGrath. Like I said, I think she's got a beautiful line, but I think it's a little overstated for the fact that you can get pretty much the exact same thing for cheaper. So there you guys go. Please like, please share, follow me on my other social media because I have a lot of fun stuff that I like to put on day to day. And of course, I really appreciate all your guys' support and suggestions. So thank you so much. I will see you on the next review.